Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Go Big or Go Home. Welcome to the Sunday Brunch Kit Builds. Every Sunday, we show up, we work on some kits, we do some graffiti, some weathering, might do some work on the layout. Who knows? But today, I'm going to be working on some loads for Mike. I've got some of these loads that I've done in the past, and this is just your basic pipe load. That's on 2x4s or 4x4s, whatever you would want to call that. And then they are also wrapped as well. You can kind of see the twine there. And this is perfect for the Rapido bulkhead flat car. I was going to call it a fat car, but it's actually a very flat car. He's got, I have a couple and he's got a couple. So I told him I'd make him some. So I'm going to do some of that. I also have a bulkhead pipe car that I'm going to do some weathering on. I have two of these. I've already finished my other one. This is car number 2, and I did some graffiti on there last week, and I just got to weather it up, or finish weathering it up, I should say, because I'm going to need this for next weekend for Springfield. Another thing that I did this past week, you remember the pipe for the pipe car, and I had a lot of people ask me about this. So I've got, this isn't even a full bag. This is just 3 cars worth. And you can see I've got green tips, yellow tips, and on this side here, there's orange tips. I already had the yellow ones done from like a while ago, but I recently did the orange ones because I wanted to do a bit of a different color. And then this, I guess the last couple of days or so, I've been working on pipes. So I decided to do some green ones. And those will be in these cars at the show next week, which Springfield, if you guys are going, I'll be there with Trackside Mike, and we will be at the Otter Valley booth working away all weekend long. And don't forget, there's going to be a YouTube meetup at the Mini Prince booth Saturday, so next Saturday at noon. And I think we're all in the Better Living Center. So if you are coming to the show, stop by, say hi. And I know I'll have some stickers. I think Mike is taking some stickers as well. So don't forget to grab your stickers from us. So in typical fashion, of course, if you do want to come up and you want to work on something, keep it train related, we can chat away and we can get some work done. I've been trying to get as much done before the show as possible, so that I have some stuff for the module or the diorama that's going to be on display there. The pipe's done, which is great. I just got to get this car done. I did my other one last week. That was lots of fun. And of course, I also did the AIM car. If you want to see the pictures of those, I've already posted them on my Instagram, and you can go and take a look. Don't forget to follow, of course, because I'm posting something new. What seems like every day or every week at least, something new every week. I guess that's fair. So for this, like I said, I've been doing these pipe loads. I've done 2 already, and I actually have enough straws here to do 2 more loads. I don't know how many of the bulkheads he has, but I might as well take them and give them to him because he'll be there instead of having to mail them out. So I'm going to show you guys how I do this. And it's just using basic straws. So in case you haven't seen it in the past, I know I've worked on these before previously. So it's a white straw. I got all these from McDonald's. I was asked for an extra straw or 2, and I never use my straw because I don't like using paper straws. But instead of throwing them away, I turn them into a craft project, right? So that's the length. I don't have to cut it down or anything. I don't have the car here, but this basically, it fits between the 2 bulkheads with a little bit of space on each end. And that's your basic length right there. So it's a free straw. And then I use turquoise paint from the dollar store. That's the paint there. I usually put it in a little cup, and then I paint the thing, and then I put it on my little thing here, and then I let it dry. I usually do, 3/4 of it, let it dry, do the other end, let it dry. And I do just on the inside there because you can see the white. So you want to make sure you do the inside of the straw, just like near the tip. You know, doesn't have to be perfect, but it works. So far, paint is only like $1.50 and the straw cost me nothing. I also have a bunch of matchsticks here. You can see these are your Strike Anywhere kind of matchsticks, and I've counted it out, so I've got enough here that I'll be able to do this. And I've got a little template too. I know it's just a piece of cardboard, but there's a weird end to it where it's squared and then it gets rounded, and it's probably about like 1/4 of an inch there that's rounded. So I always just cut that off. I chop that off just to kind of square the end. There we go. Okay. You can even, I've got a little piece of sandpaper here. I can even do that right on the end just so that it's nice and flat. They're not always perfect because they just use like a chop saw to cut them to length. And then I put it up against the little wall here. And chop. Sand that in. And then I just keep repeating the process over and over again. And I need 9 per stack, per load. Like, so for one of these, you can see, these ones I painted black, like with a black ink, so that they're a bit of an older looking, almost like a tie. It was a tie at one point, but then they just, put them to between the bundles. So I need to make a bunch of them. So that's what I'm going to do here. And again, I've already had these matches. So again, this really isn't costing me anything to do. And I think that's always great because, it's a free load basically. Now the string that I use, you could probably use thread, but it might be too thin. What I used was telephone pole wire, and it's basically like, oh, that went flying. It's basically like string, but it's from the Woodland Scenics telephone pole system that they have, and it was extra wire because they give you so much extra in there. And I have a couple of sets, so I'm decided, I'm going to keep all this string just in case. I like to reuse things or find a new purpose for it. So that was where I landed with this one. And building this is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. I take 3, glue it to one of the 2x4 type sticks, and then prop it up on the other end, and then let that sit, and then I can just stack them. And it's very easy to just stack them. And it's very strong too because of the glue that I use, and I'll show you that in a minute. Always want to be careful you don't cut yourself. Now there are chopping tools that you can get. There's like a little saw and different things from Micromark, but again, I'm just using, a regular X-Acto knife, and I made my own little template. It's just quick little project. Also want to say hi to everybody who's watching as well. So I'm just gonna take a look here. Got Lee, how's it going? And Bradley, Anthony, Andy, Wigwag, Brian, Dave, Perry, how's it going, guys? Almar, Scott Rails, John, and John. Hopefully everyone's doing good today, staying out of the cold. I'm on vacation right now, so I'm having the time of my life. I was filming some stuff last night. I got this cool camera car that I'm very excited to show you guys. This new kind of style of running trains, and it's I'm not sure how new of a style it is or if anybody else has ever done it, but I'll be posting a video soon on the camera car. Posted a short this morning just to kind of show you a sneak preview, but I got it working last night, sent to me from Canadian Locomotive Logistics, who's also here on YouTube and Instagram and whatnot, who made the car. And it's actually like it's a very small camera. It's a little wireless camera. And there's storage on there and everything. So that's pretty cool. You can save your video to an SD card, but I was able to save it right to my phone, and I can edit right from my phone as well. So that's pretty cool. It was a lot easier to do that opposed to the cameras that I have. So watch for that video, because running a layout has definitely changed, especially depending on the size of your layout. Like we've seen on with Mike, he's got the proto throttle, which is really cool. I really like that a level of realism. But imagine driving your locomotives with a camera right as your locomotive. It's basically like driving a mini train, but you're in the hot seat, which is pretty cool. Anyone hear more about Artie? What happened with Artie? Yeah, I know he's coming over, like, because he's going to be at the show next week, but I have no idea where he is in particular. Anyone in the chat currently going next weekend to the Ancaster show? Let me know. Uh-oh. Drop something. Oh, well. If I've got time after putting this together and weathering this car, I've got some more lumber loads as well. I should have named this episode "Get a Load of This," because I'm strictly just working on different loads here. That would have been the clever approach, the clever thing to do, but I'm okay with it not being titled as anything. Imagine having to cut your own ties. Like, I know you can buy a bag of ties for, for your layout, and you can lay your own track. But imagine you had to cut every single tie. Oh my gosh. Like, I know there's guys that build their own switches and whatnot. which I can be honest, I would love to try in the future. It's like a block of metal, and then you put your things into it, then you lay your rail over it and all that. Um, Fast Tracks, is it Fast Tracks? Can't remember. Fast Tracks, as it tracks. I don't know, but anyways, you can make your own switches, but at least you don't have to cut your own ties for that either, because you get the it's like a laser, it's like a sheet of tie, and you just put that on your thing as well, and then you just put the rail over it. So Lee is going. Lee will be there. Or no, yeah, no, Almar is going to be there. Sorry. Yeah, Fast Tracks. There you go. Yeah, I thought that was the name. So many different companies and whatnot. It's hard to keep track of them all and who makes what. Yeah, I mean they didn't have the options like they do now, so but that's cool though, like if you've got the patience to lay your own track and whatnot. But with the kind of layout that I have, where it's 3 levels, and I think my actual running time, like if I was to put a train at like speed step, let's say speed step 20, because that's not too fast, not too slow, and you're kind of like mainline travel with a heavy load. Speed step 20, top to bottom, going around the helix, right back to where you started, usually takes about 30 minutes. You can cut that time down by going faster, like 35, 40 speed steps, but you want to do it realistically. Your charger cars, you 3 cars to the first class car. So with the charger set that I have 2 coach cars and 2 business cars. Yeah, because that's what's available or was available. Those were the only 4 numbers. Mind you, I don't even see the actual car number on the car. So I almost don't think it matters if you get like 2 of the same number or not. If it's on there, it's very hard to see. Hey Russ, how's it going? Is that the way they run them? Anytime I've seen it, because when you look at the bottom half of the car, there's 2 different colors. So the coach car is a lighter gray, and the business car is a much darker gray. And when I look at the real, like video of the real thing, it shows like 2 cars that are much darker and 2 cars that are way lighter. And then of course there's the the cab car as well, which looks like a locomotive, but only there's seating in there, which should be out. I know it says on the Train World website by the end of March, but I think we'll know better if next weekend at the train show, Bachman has the sample on the table, it'll really gauge how far out it is. I'm pretty sure it's already tooled, but how far along is the tooling? That's the big question. Yeah, it's very odd the way that they did that paint scheme, Perry. Again, not a lot of people like it. Some of the more seasoned Via guys, I think they prefer the classics. But it's unfortunate with the LRC cars, and I'm talking about the real ones, not the model. I mean, those are unfortunate too, but with the real ones, they're being discontinued at some point. They said this was supposed to be the last year, or last year was supposed to be the last year. The main frame, the body, or the chassis, I guess, of the cars, they are, they're done. They're done ski. It's cost far more to repair them than, just buying a whole new train. And you're going to see that with a lot of passenger equipment going forward. As you've seen, obviously, with Amtrak is going to be getting, more chargers. Ontario Northland is already in talks to have. I know that they want one as the Northlander, but if they're smart, they'll get a couple of sets, because if that breaks down, then obviously they need a backup. But then they'd also want like a northbound and a southbound. So they're probably going to be getting a couple of charger sets as well, which is said to be hitting the rails within the next 2 to 3 years. But I love the LRC cars. That to me, between those and the silver, the stainless steel cars, like, to me, that's Via. But yeah, that's just me, right? I know a lot of people will have different opinions about what cars they like and all that, so, which is cool. Everybody is entitled to, their opinion, and everybody has their likes and dislikes. Okay, so I'm just setting these up here because I like to use the grid to kind of show, or more or less just give me an outline for how I'm going to place these. And typically I take 3 and I sit them in the middle like this, and they'll be, evenly distributed on there. Oh, they have 5 sets? Jeez. Well, I've seen like, I don't know if it's real or not. When you see something on the internet, the first thing you say is this real? Because that's the internet for you. But I've seen a couple of, supposed paint schemes as well that they would be doing for ONR. And it looks like they're trying to almost recreate the actual T-Train version of the Northlander, if you guys know what that is. I'm sure if you guys follow the ONR or British Rail, because it was a British train, then you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. If not, that's cool too. They do. Honestly, like, I know it sounds kind of silly because there's a lot of different paint schemes out there. And I think that a big part of why we like what we like and we model what we model is based off of, visual presentation. For example, I like the Go Transit cars because they're so streamlined. And when you see a row of like 7 to 12 of these cars, and they're all, being pulled in unison, right? It looks very appealing to me because they're all the same size car, all the same shape, and it just, to me, that looks cool. much like the LRC cars. You would normally see four in a consist, and they're all the same shape, same length, and all that stuff, and they're being all pulled together. Um, and it's eye catching. Same thing with locomotives, right? Like a lot of people gravitate towards like something a little bit fancier. There's obviously the more duller, like I like Norfolk Southern, but just the paint plain black with the white logo on the side, it's very plain. But sometimes that's all you need. But regardless, with Via, I like the somewhat flashy, wraps and paint schemes that they do, because they're very nice. Nothing wrong with the blue and yellow, because that's a classic. But um, they have so many wraps, and I think that's why I have like a majority of the wraps, because they're so fancy. Just gonna put a bit of glue. Here. Yeah, they're still running the F40s, the rebuilds, but even the P40 and the P42 are supposed to be getting scrapped. And any any Via driver who's ever driven on the P42, they always have the same complaint, and that it's a terrible locomotive to drive. Um, but they are on the older side. Um, I'm sure they like driving the F40s way more. The F40 is actually my favorite, probably my favorite locomotive. Um, so it's nice that they're going to be keeping those around. Like they were rebuilt. Like what is it now? It's F42D something, because they added the HEP on the back of it, and that's why they rebuilt it, to add basically new life. And you're going to see those for the next 20 years, most likely. They'll probably get another 20 years out of those F40s because of that. I know that some of them have still been, scrapped, but it's probably due to just, like when they get into an accident or whatever, or they're just it's easier to just scrap it than spend money on repairing it. They're going for another rebuild. Oof. What are they going to add this time? That's awesome though, because they still use those for the Canadian. Yeah, I think they put three F40s on the Canadian. I've seen them still use them on the corridor service, but I mostly see the P42s. Sometimes you'll see a P42 and an F40 on there, like one at each end, which is cool. It's the same thing with the F59s. Things have been kind of wearing down with those because of the fact that the MP40 kind of took over, and it seems to be Go Transit's new standard locomotive. They're still in use. You can still see them today, but how much life do they have left? They probably might go for a rebuild again with those, but I think there's only like 4 or 5 left in actual service. So it's really hard to say. They look at it, they assess it, and they say, how many more years can we get out of this? What are the repair costs like? And if something went wrong, do we have something to replace it? So Yeah, it's tough because then you don't get to see the locomotives anymore that you grew up seeing and that you really enjoy seeing, especially if you're an avid rail fan that's always out there, you know, trying to catch these locomotives. It's what happens. They go the way of Old Yeller, basically, and they're, you know, sent to scrap. The box cars that Rapido just put out, I can't remember the logic name of it. It's like a B something 35 dash whatever. There's the Southern Pacific box cars. There was a CN, and then there's an ONR box car. The ONR box cars were actually just scrapped, like literally this past month. There wasn't too many of them left, but just the fact that they're no longer going to be in service, they're gone. They're Dunsky right now. So if it's something that you were hoping to catch, now that you have a better model, because I know that Intermountain did them like a few years back, and by a few I mean like 7 years ago. Those were done by Intermountain. They had terrible trucks though, and I'm being honest. I love Intermountain, but those box cars were terrible. So I'm looking forward to the Rapido ones, but yeah, the exact same box car, the ones that are for sale right now, they're being scrapped. So it's really sad. But they serve their purpose. Most stuff is being transferred now by container. You don't see too many box cars. And what box cars you do see, they're usually high cubes now because they have a larger capacity. So, all the 40 footers, yeah, I don't see them as much, but yeah, the MP40, which it bugs me so much because, with Atlas having that tooling now for the MP40, it really makes me feel like we're never going to see, a Go unit. And I know Rapido won't touch it just because it's something that Trueline did. They have this thing where they don't touch things from Trueline. All these companies need to learn to get along. What are the pipes? These are straws. Russ, this is a regular paper straw that I got from McDonald's. I painted it using paint from the dollar store, which I think was about $1.50 to $2. Turquoise, just straight turquoise. I didn't mix it or anything. And then I'm using matchsticks to basically prop them up and space them out. And then I use almost like a string twine stuff here to tie them all together. This is today's craft. Now I'm making these for Trackside Mike because I already have 2 of these, and I told him that I would make him some because he's got a couple of these cars as well. There we go. And I'll be able to take those to him this weekend because we're going to be at Springfield. Where would you film ONR? Never seen them on the tracks anywhere. The funny thing is that the odd time, and it's fun being me sometimes because I do have some friends that are, when they're trackside and they see something in the GTA area or surrounding area, they'll send me pictures and they'll say, Chris, where were you today? I saw a string of ONR box cars, and then they send me the pictures, and I'm like, where is that? And it's like, Southern Ontario, which is really neat because, you wouldn't think that you would see ONR box cars down that far. But mostly if you want to see like primo ONR stuff, go to North Bay. North Bay shops. It's, just off the highway. And you can see all the ONR action. I model a big part of my layout is based off of North Bay and the surrounding area. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking to see some great O&R stuff, go out to North Bay. 3 hours from me. It's a 3-hour drive from Ottawa. And from Barrie, I want to say it's at least 2 hours north. Hey, Sparky, how's it going? But yeah, that's where you'd see a lot of it. But once they get the Northlander up and running, the plan is to bring it back so that you're getting trips from Union Station all the way up to North Bay and then past North Bay. I can't remember how far north that goes. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. But yeah, that'll be awesome once they have that back up and running again, because that opens up the possibility to have, more people traveling and bring that back. So I've got 2 here. I got 2 sets of 3. They're glued together. Kind of letting the glue dry a little bit here, but what I'm going to do is I'm eventually going to put some glue on the bottom, and then all I got to do is stack it and then push it together like that, and these will hold. And this is the glue I'm using too, just the Bob Smith Industries. It's, it's strong, so it's going to hold the stuff together. With paper, because it is paper strong, really well. And with the wood, I haven't had any issues with it holding to the matchsticks at all, really. It's a very durable glue. In fact, it might be too durable, because what will happen is that if you're not careful, it will mess up. And then good luck trying to realign the whole thing. You got to be patient with it and not rush it. But it doesn't have to be perfect, because, these are loaded up by people, and people aren't perfect, so you don't have to worry about this being perfect. Hey, Kyle, how's it going? I just push down, and that should hold. And keeping in mind, this is for the Rapido bulkheads. We've got the other pipe load here, which you can see the colors. I did all the different colored tips, which is said to represent different pressure. So depending on the amount of pressure a pipe can carry or take, they'll color the end of the pipe. Now, I don't know what pressure or PSI orange is compared to yellow, compared to green, but I've seen them in blue, I've seen them in red, and of course orange, yellow, green, different colors. But I often see green, and I often see like the orangey or the yellow. So I just did these ones specifically. I'll probably do more green ones in the future, just to have like maybe 2 cars of green and then one of one and one of the other. And I'd like to set up a distribution thing, because there is, I think it's, where is it? Is it in Burlington or somewhere? I can't remember where it is, but in the Toronto area or Southern Ontario, there is a place that does make pipe, and I think it's sent out by truck, but that's okay. It doesn't need to, your layout, your rules, right? So I'm just setting these up here again so that I can do another one. I'm flying through this. I think it's because, when you do a bunch of them, it's almost as if you've got like a whole assembly line going. Do one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then I made some of those pipe loads, but with plastic straws. Huh. Now, how do you find working with the plastic straws? Because I'd be worried, about trying to paint a plastic straw. But Perry's resourceful. I know that he probably did a really good job. Oh, spray paint. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just use the old paintbrush and yep. Yours is probably lighter, seeing as how it's plastic. These are a little bit heavier. It's not too heavy, like it could stand to be heavier. But honestly, like once you tie the strands together, I wonder if this fits in here. No, it's too big. Well, that's not the pipe for it anyways, but yeah, no, I'm just curious. Yeah, that's cool. Plastic straw. It's probably easier to find the plastic straws. So just get that out of the way. And then we're going to do this one. I think Mike's going to be very happy with these. I don't even know if he's opened up his bulkheads yet. What do I have now? 3 or 4? I think I have like 3, at least 3. 2 CN and 1 O and R. Oh, okay. A red brown. So almost like that oxidized brown color. No, not even. So this is one load right here, and then all I got to do is wrap it, and then I got one more load to do because there's 3 and there's another 3. So just 2 loads, and they're already all the little 2x4s are already cut, and I'm already basically done building this one. I just gotta put it together, and then I've got my string in here. I'll pull that out in a minute, and I'll show you guys because it comes on a little twine thing. This stuff dries really quick too. It's kind of cold in here, not gonna lie. I don't have the heater on because it's noisy. But normally, if it's warm enough in here, the glue dries even quicker. So for next weekend, obviously there's no Sunday brunch build next Sunday because I'm going to be out of town. But in in typical GVO fashion, I'll be probably filming a whole bunch, and I'll probably be going live as well. Never going to be a dull moment next weekend. If Sparky's not live, Heath will be live. And if Sparky and Heath are not live, I will be live. And if neither of us are live, you know that there's going to be somebody else that's going to be live. Someone will always be live. I guarantee it. This is different. This is a much smaller pipe here. So I'll show you this. So you get this stuff from Otter Valley. And it's this is actual plastic. And this is scale pipe. Show you the green. So it comes as a black. Yeah, it's almost like a stir stick. That's what it kind of reminds me of, a stir stick. And It's obviously a lot shorter, and I just dip the end in the paint, you know, just dip it in, and then I put them on my little pegboard here that I made, and you know, it just dries, and within 3 hours they're good to go, and I just load them up into my little bulkhead pipe car here, and they fit very nice. There's room at both ends. You can create a tied down load, um, or you can have it loose like this. They did both. You can also put little separators in there. Little, you know, you can probably use these to go in between the loads as well, and make little dividers. But yeah, for this here, well, I gotta weather that still. I'll weather that in a minute. But yeah, this is only available through Otter Valley, obrtrains.com. I think it's like $16, and you get enough to do 2 full cars. But so far, because I don't fill it up all the way, I do it about 3/4. I get about 50 to 60 pipe in there, and I'm able to do 3 cars with 1 bag. So, and I'm doing obviously different. You don't ever see a mixed load like green and orange in one car. Do 1 car green, 1 car yellow, or 2 cars green. Don't mix a yellow and orange, or you know, yellow and green together, etc., etc. I never see them mixed anyways. And there's my triple stack. So 9 pipes, 3x3. And that's just what it looks like before you wrap it. This is more of a finished look, right? You can use like probably some. I use just black ink and did the ends and the bottoms, right? And the load comes off the car because you know you can always put it off to the side, right? And then that's ready to, you know, the forklift. You can put a forklift that'll pick it up. You know, maybe you want to create a little display with that, which is cool. You could drop it roadside if you were doing like a little construction thing, because these pipes usually get buried. So you'd see them along a roadside. There's also shorter pipe, so you can create 2 smaller loads. So you take basically, you cut it right about there, and you create more of a 2 5-foot section as opposed to a 12-foot. And yeah, you create 2 smaller loads, and they would sit like with a little bit of a gap in the middle, like usually about like that far apart, which is cool too, because then you're getting different sizing as well. But just for Mike, because I had asked him, I said, Mike, do you want small pipe or do you want like the big pipe, like what I have? And he said, well, the big pipe is more of a standard, so we can go ahead and we can do those. I don't mind, but I think in the future I might do some smaller pipe as well. Or if somebody wants me to make them one and they say, you know, do 2 of the smaller pipes, because I like a challenge. Do one of those. Hey, Tristan, how's it going? Oh, so you need more cars? Oh, like these bulkhead pipe cars, they're really nice, and you usually see them in a whole string. I want at least 10. I only have 2 right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be coming back from the show with a couple more. But I do want to get a total of 10 of these. And there's a couple of different styles to choose from, but most of them are either DWC or CWTX. DWX or CTWX, I think, which is you'll either have the CN logo right here, or this one here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's still a CN logo, but it's really faded. It's almost like a patch out, which is really cool. Those are your two options. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get more, and I do want a string of 10 of them, just because you'll see that you'll see like 10 of them together. You might see them in a mix manifest, but you'd only see like one or two in a mix, and usually they're going to the same customer, or they're coming from the same thing, whatever it's called. But because I'll be with Otter Valley and we'll be at the show, he's going to have a bunch of these for sale. So if you do want to pick up any of these cars, it would probably be the best time to get them. Because I know how shipping is. It sucks. It sucks shipping from the U.S. to Canada, and it sucks shipping from Canada to the U.S. Not great. But regardless, if you're at the show in person, you're going to have the 6400 scrap and waste disposal cars, and also the 6000s, and then of course these bulkheads, the bulkhead pipe car. You can also buy these bags of pipe load as well, which is perfect for your car. And like I said, you can get one bag and it'll fill two cars modestly, and to the top, or you can fill three, maybe 3.5 cars, half to 3/4 of the way. You're gonna be there, Brian? Yo, that's awesome. I'm cold too. I'm in my basement, but you know how it is. It gets cold in basements. The space heater's too noisy, so I didn't want to, you're probably having a more fun time than I am because you're actually driving trains, but I can dream. I can dream. I'd like to go out to North Bay specifically this year just to take photos. I know I've been saying it for like the past 3-4 years, but obviously the last 3 years have been kind of crazy. So now that things are a bit better, I think this summer I might have to make the journey, even if it's just a Wednesday day, and then go shoot some trains and then come home. I know a couple of guys that do work for O&R, so it'd be nice to go and see if it's possible to tag along or something. I don't know. Got to get in that yard somehow. I picked up. I ordered. You're saying lumber, right? They built those lumber loads for the cars, right? So that's what I had purchased, the Walthers lumber loads, and then I wrapped them in plastic, and I put the little logos on it. It worked out really, really good, but it's expensive. If you can get like these, like that size, in a little wood block, it'd probably be more cost effective. But I wanted to keep them all the same size, so that's why I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'll just shell out the coin, and I'll just finish at least this car in this way. That way, it's all the same. But yeah, it's a little bit more pricey that way, but becoming a big fan of making loads for cars. I don't know why. I don't know what sparked it, but it's fun. It was cold yesterday. I took the boys tobogganing and just went over to the Canada Hill. There's a hill in the town over from me. It was pretty cool. I think it was like -15, -16, but there was also a wind, so it makes it feel like -20 to 30. So we weren't there long, but long enough that they could, have fun and go down a bunch of times. I think it takes longer for them to get up the hill than it does for them to get down the hill. But they wanted to try out their new toboggans. Got them some nice toboggans this year. Little speedy things, red in color, of course. And yeah, spend some time with the kiddos because I got the whole week off, but for the second half of the week I'll be gone to Springfield, so wanted to make sure I got some time with them before I had to travel down to the States. I don't know, I'm still not 100% sure if I'm coming down Thursday or Friday. Most likely Friday, either way. Like if I don't come down Thursday, then I'll be there Friday, but it's funny, Russ, when it comes to like, I don't know if you saw the live I did where I was wrapping my lumber loads, but we have white garbage bags, and I did a 2-layer of white garbage bag that I cut down to a little square like this, and then I wrapped it as if I was wrapping a Christmas present. And then I put my little logos on it because I do Beaver Lumber. So I have a bunch of Beaver Lumber logos that were printed out, and I just put them along the side that you would see. And it looks okay. It's not like amazing by, in any sense of the word, but it does what it needs to do. And it looks like a lumber load that's wrapped. So that was good enough for me. Um, yeah. Yeah, everything's booked. We're in the whatchamacallit, the Holiday Inn with AML, all the AML people. Yeah, you know what I noticed though? I don't know if it's because I don't, normally go by toboggans and all that. But I remember from when I was a kid, toboggans were like, not expensive, like $5. And here I am looking online, you check Walmart, you check Canadian Tire. I don't know where else sells toboggans. Maybe Toys R Us. I didn't check Toys R Us though. And it's like, like $30-$40 for a plastic, sled. Not sled, but like a toboggan. And it's like, holy moly. And then some are over $100. And it's like, why? Why is it $100? They all do the same thing. You sit on it and you slide down the hill. Like, you don't do it professionally. There's no such thing as professional tobogganing. Unless there is, and I'm totally out of the loop. If there is, it's probably a Canadian thing. And if it's a Canadian thing and I'm not aware of it, then I really need to get out more. But yeah, I was really taken by the fact that toboggans for some reason are stupid expensive. But yeah, GT racers are fun too. That's another one of those things that I never had when I was like little, but I think that'll be next year's investment for them because there's been a lot of, and it could be controversial. I don't know, but a lot of places are banning tobogganing now because there's a lot of deaths and irresponsible people doing irresponsible things while tobogganing, right? Um, so it's you know they say, oh no, you can't toboggan here, or oh, there's no tobogganing on any hills, or in public parks or on city property or things like that. But like when I think back to when I was a kid, it's like you would be standing up on your toboggan, going down like it was a snowboard, no helmet or anything like that. If you fell, you fell, you got up, you dusted the snow off, you laughed it off, and you went up and you did it again. Where now it's like, oh, you don't want to hurt yourself, so maybe we should just not do it. Come on now. But that's just, my generation versus the new generation. And I'm sure the generation before me would have a few more words to say as well. But oh yeah, no, 100%. Like ramps and all that. Like you don't take a toboggan and not take a shovel, because you're making. Like when I was younger and I did a lot more, you know, sports and snowboarding was pretty big for me in my youth back in the day. Well, I did it for like 16 years. Same with skateboarding. I did that for 18 years. And I would go to like literally across the street from my house, there was a row of houses, and then behind that there was a soccer field. And at the very top of the soccer field, there was a giant hill. And I think it might have been one of those, they call it a trash mound, and then they just, cover it with grass or whatever. Or there's like something that it has to do with like an electrical something. Either way, it's like a giant hill that you climb, and then it gets covered in snow, and then you can go down it on your toboggan or whatever. And that's what everyone used it for. Um, they had stairs going down it with a handrail, and yeah, like I would build a little ramp, and I would, what they call grind the handrail, because it was kinked. It would go straight, then down, then straight. So we would hit the handrail and we'd make jumps and all that stuff, get into trouble like kids normally do, right? But now it's like with them just saying, no, you can't do that, can't do that. How is anybody supposed to live anymore? Experience things or have fun? It's crazy. I got one more to build and then I can just start. Well, I'm going to stack these, but we would build like big ramps too, right? Like there would be bushes. Of course, there'd be no leaves on it because it would be dead, but big bushes. And then we would build a ramp and then jump over the bush. Never landing in the bush. We weren't destructive in that sense. The object was to make it over. And at the time, I was taking welding class as well, so I would build different size benches and different lengths of benches. And sometimes you could put the benches together to make one long bench. And because it was metal, you put some candle wax on top of that, you slide right along it, no problem. We would carry it all the way down the street and through snow that was like knee high. And, we would do all that fun stuff and do tricks and learn new stuff. And yeah, it's fun. But now I've got like back problems and my knee sucks. So I'm really showing my age here. But that's okay. But that happens, right? Yeah, like there's when you're not involving like water, if it's not a lake at the bottom of the hill, then what's the problem, right? Like I had seen on the news, like we have this canal out in Ottawa. We call it the Rideau Canal because it feeds off the Rideau River or whatever. And every year, if it gets cold enough, you need at least like 4 or 5 days of -20 weather, and it really freezes over. And then they open it, and you can ice skate all the way down the canal, which is really awesome. I mean, if you're into ice skating, I'm not. I was never a skater, but even on warm days, you got people out there trying to ice skate, and there was some people that fell through the ice, or if you want to call it ice at that point, it's not even frozen. And I don't know what they were thinking, but I don't think they can find them now. Kind of sad, but it happens. Yeah, really. Dust it off, and it was always the bikes that took the brunt of whatever was going on. If you were messing around on a bicycle, you go off some jumps and either bust a tire or handle falls off or something. But it was like it's never the kids. We used to make trails through the bush, like almost like off-roading, but like with the bikes. That was always fun. Make your own tour or whatever it's called, path. Have a good one, John. Thanks for watching, hanging out. I don't think I added enough glue on the very last one here, which will be a shame when I go to lift this up. Okay, so I'm just going to put enough glue on this one to kind of hold it in place. As far as prep work for this kind of thing, I mean, the straws and painting the straws was really the only thing I needed to do before going live here, and that was like a 1 day thing. So, if you're ever worried, how long does this actually take? Well, I've made 2 loads, and it's only been an hour. But technically, painting these, you paint it, you let it dry for like 3 or 4 hours, and then you come back and paint the other end. Wait 3 or 4 hours. That's what takes the longest, I find. Took like not even 10, 15 minutes to chop up these matchsticks. So oh yeah, yeah. Because when I built the first one, like I was cutting the 2x4s one at a time, and now it's just easier to do a bulk load of them, and I've got my little template, so that helps too. And yeah, now I just do it like it's assembly line. I'm not going to paint these 2x4s. I'll let Mike decide what he wants to do because I think he might actually use a stain. So if he decides to stain them, then at least he just has to stain the ends of them, and then that's it. Nothing will get in the way because it's just a little piece of wood. Some people might stain them before even gluing them on, but I often worry about this glue because it doesn't always dry clear, and it'll leave like almost like a white residue or a white film. But at least with this, it's hidden. Are the pipes produced at one of your line side industries or a run through? It's more or less just you drop the cars off or you back the cars in, you drop them off. You can switch them out with the full loads, or you can just pick up cars that are like empties, and then you drop off empties. They fill them up, and then you can take them out. I don't have a place set up yet on the layout for this particular industry, just because I haven't really decided where I want it to go. A and B, there's a couple of other industries that I'm working on first, but I don't like to work on the same thing, all the time, right? I like to switch it up. And with the fact that I've been working on the chocolate factory, which is going to be a huge part of the top level, I've been working on that for like a month and a half, probably about a month and a half, I think. I like to switch it up every so often and do something different. Like even before I did the chocolate factory, I was doing my lumber loads for a little bit there. And I've been doing a few other types of loads as well. So I wanted to try doing some more of these pipes because I really enjoy doing this. And then of course, like Mike wanted some, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do some for Mike as well. But yeah, there you go. So there's two loads right there. This I just built those now, and it took an hour and 10 minutes. I just got to wrap them. This one's probably dry, so I'm gonna do this one first. And this is the string I was telling you guys about. Oops. And it's kind of knotted too, so that's always fun. Hopefully I can sort this out because that's a pain. I don't want it to start knotting or anything like that. This is what happens when things unravel and you don't want it to unravel, but then it does. Okay, good. So I got a good length here. The trick with this is to not mess it up, because if you mess it up, you've come so far and then you mess it up and you're like, well, I messed it up. So I put it, I'll let that dry. And I try to do them all roughly about the same, right? I don't do them differently. They're all manufactured at the same place. So, okay. So I know you can see I didn't tie it. I just more or less wound it, if that makes sense. And it just makes a little crisscross thing. Now I put a little dab of glue right in the very middle. And I gotta sit here and let this dry for a minute, because what's gonna happen is that I'm gonna have to cut this off and I'm gonna have to cut that off. And I'm gonna have to let that dry. And then once that little itty bitty dot is dry, you can kind of see here on these, it sucks on the top because I don't know how to really finish that off. Where on the bottom, like, you know, you don't see that. It's a lot cleaner on the bottom, right? You just snip it and then you don't see it because it's on the bottom. But yeah, it's going to be almost like a plastic. I'm probably going to have to get those, you know, those tall plastic pellet silos and put those with the building, and then have possibly a drive-through building. But I'm also like you know, if you have it where it's just a building and then you have the cars that pull up alongside, and then you just have your forklift just lifted onto the car, that's fine too. That might be how I approach it. I haven't really looked into it all that deep yet. I just know that that's kind of what I want to do. And it's not even a big industry. It's just, you know, you just do a track that pulls up to it and then that's it. You can have it as one track or you can have it as 2-track arrival and departure. So you have your ones being loaded and then you have your empties. So there's one. Okay. And now I'm going to do the second one. But just because you have, you know, pipes doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a pipe industry. I know lots of guys who have different cars that just like different cars and they don't have the corresponding industry for it, right? They just like to run certain types of cars. And that's totally cool. Like I've got auto racks. I don't have an auto rack facility. Not yet, anyways. That'll be like future. I think on the next layout. Oh my gosh, I just have to get this centered. I have to pin it down. Otherwise, this is going to be a pain. Okay, that should be okay. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before, but the Ottawa Club, the club here in Ottawa, taking you guys on a bit of a tour of that before. They have so many different types of modules, and there was this one. It was very, I guess you could say, inspiring in a sense to me. because you're taking something that's like 4 feet long. No, or was it 8 feet? It might have been 8 feet long. Uh, and it was an auto rack unloading or loading, I guess you could say, because it was unloading from a ship and then into the car or into the cars. And you've got a couple of tracks there with auto racks, and then the backdrop building was a flat, so it's very two dimensional. It's just a ship, right? So they're being unloaded from a cargo ship to a parking lot area, and then from the parking lot area, they would get loaded into the auto racks. And I'm like, that is a huge industry that was just made into a very small diorama type display. And it's like, wow, I mean, like you can do a lot in 4 to 8 feet. Probably. I think it might be possible to do that. I'm just not sure if it'll turn. It could. I wouldn't mind getting a little if it was possible, those little the crank straps. If you can get a little piece like that and just sit it on there and glue it to it, that way it kind of adds a bit of you know, three dimension to it. I don't know if you could 3D print something that small. Mind you, Bernard has made mice or chipmunks or whatever. So possibly, because it's about the same size as a chipmunk. Yeah, steel mills are crazy. I've seen a couple of examples on YouTube. There's a couple of guys that have some pretty pretty intricate ones. For me, I have a 10-foot long workbench in my workshop area that all my buildings are sitting along, and 10 feet is not enough. I can tell you that right now. 10 feet, not enough for a steel mill. You will need way more. So plan for that, because yeah, it's quite the undertaking. But you've got tons of ore cars, which is really cool. And those will be very handy the in the steel mill. Hopefully, Rapido does. They did it for the N scale ones because the N scale ones are going to be out soon. They offered the all black ore car, barrel ore car, and that's after ONR and CN sold off those cars, which they use them out west for like concrete, and I know a lot of them were sold to somewhere in the U.S. I don't know what they use them for, but yeah, when they no longer wanted them for CN or ONR, they were just painted black, which that would be cool as well to have like some all black ones. So the way I bundle this specifically, I bundle the top two in the center, and then I do the bottom two closer to the outside. And then what I'll probably do if I decide to tie it down to the car, I would put it over the whole thing and then tie it to the car like that. That way the straps are covered here as well. And then that would hold it right down. I don't know if there's anywhere on the car to actually strap it down, but I'm sure there's a way. I haven't weathered those yet. Obviously, I've been busy doing 50 other things, but that would be a plan at some point. I can't even turn that upside down because I'm pretty sure that's wet still. So I'm going to wait on it, and I'm going to tie up these ones now. Yeah, the hot metal cars are really nice. They're very hard to find. I know Walther's, obviously, they did them, but they don't do like a large quantity at a time. And they only really release them when they do the steel mill, which sucks because it's like, you're already spending however much on the steel mill. Those kits are not cheap. I think one kit is like $250. So there's that. And then yeah, when you try to find the cars, but like, second hand, they want like $300 for one car, and it's like, why? Just because you can't find it anymore? That's silly. It's not worth $300 to somebody. I'm pretty sure it is, but usually Mike joins me, but I think Mike is busy today, so he's probably not going to be joining. But tomorrow night, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a very special episode of Off the Tracks Monday, which is normally James and Mike. Tomorrow we're on Mike's channel, so he'll be live at 7 o'clock. And because this is the week of Amherst, I'm pretty sure it's an Amherst special, so that'll be cool. Now, Thursday is supposed to be GVO After Dark, but I have no idea if I'm leaving Thursday, so there might be no GVO After Dark on Thursday. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think what I'll do is I'll finish this last wrap here for the top, and I'm just going to put them aside. I'll have to do the bottom wrap still, which I can do at any time this week. But after I do this, I'm going to weather this car. Just needs a bit of work, not too much. It's not like they don't have all the dings and dents that some cars would have. And it basically, from what I've seen, it's just, fading, sun fading. So I'll do a bit of that. Of course, even graffiti, very rare, but I did, add a little bit there on the side. There might be a few guests, Wigwag. Might just be a few guests. I don't know exactly who yet. You never know who's going to show up. You never know. That's true, Russ. And I think that the secondhand market is getting a little, outrageous. I seen somebody selling 2 packs of Athearn Go cars, which used to retail at 150, $160 because it's about $50 to $60 per car. I seen somebody selling 3 packs for like $900, and it's like, there's no way. It's not even worth that. You know what I mean? Like the Go Transit ones are better, and they're still not that expensive. So yeah, that's crazy. And like me trying to find like an MP36 or an MP40 locomotive, Most people want $700 for like a DC version of that. And it's like, why? It's not worth that much. Not going to do it. And I don't entertain silly things like that. Keep them honest. Don't buy it if it's ridiculous. Then they'll be forced to, drop the price. Or they'll sit on that stock forever. And then they'll be like, oh, well, I can't sell anything. Nothing's selling right now. It's because you're asking too much. Okay. So I just have 2 more strands to do on these, which is fine, but like I said, I can do them at any time. I'm just going to give this a minute. And supply and demand. Why demand that they lower their prices? Things that are actually worth that much aren't. And a really good example of that are the RS-18Us. The RS-18Us you can buy for $310 Canadian. And it's an amazing locomotive. It's right up there with the $400 locomotives, or potentially what could be $400. But no, it's like $310. And that's for a sound locomotive. I've seen DC locomotives go for way more just because it's like not as accessible. Sometimes you don't have to waste your money on the quote unquote rare items. Sure, yeah, it'd be nice to get some of them, but there's way more right now that's amazing. Yeah, so in some cases there's like like the volume, like they don't make enough. And I know that was a huge thing with these charger sets where they have, let's say they have 5,000 locomotives. They make 5,000 locomotives, but they make 2,000 cars. Well, 2,000 of each number. And it's like, how does that make sense? How does it, when you're supposed to have like one car on your train? That doesn't make sense. I have one. I have one, Dave. Am I willing to sell it though? Ooh, that would be a very difficult conversation to have. You know what I mean? Because it's like, on one hand, it's like you're right. Finding that would be very hard to do, and for some reason, Rapido products, they're always way more than what they should be. So Hey James, how's it going? Dave, you know which one I wanted? I wanted the Operation Lifesaver one. But it's the exact same number as a Renaissance that I have, and it's the only Renaissance I have. And I was like, okay, well, if I can find another Renaissance, then I'll get, the Operation Lifesaver. And do you think I could find another Ren unit? No. So, you end up keeping the Ren unit and you end up not getting the Operation Lifesaver one. So that's a double miss. It happens though. It honestly happens. I like finding old rolling stock for $5 and rebuilding them for about another 12. Yeah, yeah, there's lots that you can do to, with the amount of detail parts that they have nowadays. I like one of my favorite. Perry does these really nice military cars where I think he takes a lot of, I think they're either Athearn or Atlas flat cars. Or was it Intermountain? I think they were Atlas. And then he gets these military vehicles like helicopters, tanks, Humvees, and all that, and he straps them down with scale chain. So cool. And then obviously he's got like the UP units pulling it or the heritage units, which is it's a nice to top it off with something like that. But yeah, like his scale loads are like really really cool. Just a little Floyd. I really hope that they do another run of the wraps, because the one that I want more than anything is the Love the Way. I want a Love the Way F40 because that's pretty modern. That's modern. It's on the rails right now. I'll probably end up getting the whatever it's called, the P42 that has the Love the Way on it. But I really want the F40. And if they did that with some of the other ones as well, right? Like if they did a rerun of the CBC or a rerun of the Kool-Aid, you know, you'd probably never see that Poppy unit though. I can guarantee you that. We've already seen other companies try to do the, Every Child Matters and the Poppy units, and because they don't get permission to do it, they get shut down real quick. Or I should say those projects get shut down real quick, not the company. How's it going, James? We were just talking about you. Good things, I promise. Talking about how you guys are live tomorrow night. James, do you have a loop yet or what? When are we going to see this loop? I know. Don't want to rush it, but I'm excited for you. Probably been a minute since you've got to run trains because when you moved, obviously you had to take your old layout apart, and that was a while ago. At least a year and a half, 2 years, I think. I might have lost count. The problem, Dave, is that they didn't go and talk to the Legion at all. At least that's the general consensus, is that no conversation was ever had. Some companies like to play fast and loose and see what they can get away with until they can't get away with it. And even with the Every Child Matters, it's like that picture leaked online. I don't know how it did. But then, of course, everybody got excited. And then, all it takes is someone saying to someone, hey, do you know that they're going to produce this? And they're like, well, they never got permission. And then everyone's in an uproar. So that happens. It shouldn't. It definitely shouldn't, but it does. Did you guys know that these cars, and including the 6400 and 6000, are all up for Car of the Year for Model Railroad Craftsman and Model Railroad Magazine and all that? That's pretty cool. And we'll find out if they do win come February. So next month, we'll find out if Otter Valley wins for Car of the Year. And of course, I'm going to be putting a clear coat on this to seal it all in. But obviously, I got to do all this first. Even that, there's a real life, what is it, a GP38 O&R. They did a Every Child Matters wrap. And it's bright orange, and it has the feather going down the side. It looks really nice. Will anybody ever produce this as a model? No, probably not. But if you can find the right colors and somebody to paint it for you, I know there's a guy online that has the decal. You can do the decal of it. Only problem is that no one's producing a GP38 for Ontario Northland. So that's another issue. Between the GP38 and the GP9, which are like two of the locomotives that I would buy all of them. I would literally buy the entire, whatever they put out, whatever numbers they do, I would get them all. But they're not doing it. They haven't done it. They say, oh, okay, yeah, send an email to product suggestions. But that would involve making new tooling because I don't think they have the tooling for those particular cars or logos. Will they? Probably not. Will I be sad about it? Probably. But, it happens, I guess. They're only going to do what's going to make them money, right? That makes sense from a business perspective. I like to use Q-tips because I know it won't scratch the car as well. I also have like a few brushes that I use, but nothing too, nothing too crazy. So probably right after I'm done doing this, I'm going to end up taking this into the other room and I'm going to spray a dull coat on it just to make sure that this is all good, and then I can just box it up, and then it'll be ready to go to the show, and I can load it up with everything else. I'm going to be taking a couple of cards, this one and obviously my other one. And then I've got a 6,000 that I did a very mild, out my back, very mild weathering job on, because it's black, right? I looked at the picture, the prototype picture, and I'm like, okay, so it's not heavily weathered. So I did a very light dusting of dirt along the bottom, and I did some gray, almost like a gray wash on it. If you guys were watching last week, you'll have seen me do that. All very subtle and nothing crazy. And it turned out okay. I think it did. For the first time doing like an all black, car. And these are just weathering powders. These are Monroe. I really like them. They get the job done. I do tape over the road name and the number here, just because I don't want to have that covered. But yeah, sometimes, like in most cases, I'll just cover over the road number, but kind of wanted the road name displayed as well. So I don't like getting dirtying that over, because then you can't read it, and then when it comes to doing operations, everyone's like, which car is this? So there's that. Yeah. So what I do, model fresh out of the packaging, I do a dull coat, and then what I tried to do on these ones here, I did some black ink on certain parts of it just to highlight those edges, the corners, spots like right in here to make it a little bit darker. Show a little bit more of the grime on the trucks as well. Fill in those very hard to see truck springs areas. And then because I'm lightening it up, I went with a light rust, which did turn it from a darker brown to a lighter brown, and I did that on like the larger sections just to show, to make it lighter. Now I'm just going dust, dirt, medium earth color, bottom, less than bottom half, right? Like if this is half the height of the car, I'm doing like a quarter of the height, and I'm doing it right along there just for kick up and whatnot. And then the inside as well, you're going to do this side like the inside worse because a lot more is going to land in there. But after I'm done weathering, and that includes the trucks and whatnot, I'm going to spray and seal it all in. That way, if you do have to touch it, that it won't get your fingers all dirty from the whatchamacallit, from the powders. Yeah, in some cases as well, especially with box cars, because they have the much flatter ends to them, I will do the streaks upwards of the black as well, just to kind of represent the wheel kick up. But that's just on this type of car. Every car, you have to treat it differently based off of the color of the car and how dirty you want it and whatnot. And then also the elements as well, right? You got to remember that if you're doing seaside, anything seaside, the air will, because of all the salt water and whatnot, it will rust the heck out of your metal cars. So you got to be mindful of certain things like that. Like, where is this car going to be? What is the scenery like as well, Fishy. Trains by the ocean. Yeah. Yeah, it happens. They make it like that. Great. Now I owe Tim $1. I found that these have been pretty fun to weather, and then of course the little graffiti there on the side. It's going to hold up very nicely here, and because it's white graffiti, I can add a little bit of dirt to it, but I also don't have to worry about it like fading or anything. Of course, when you spray these, you don't want to spray it up close like this. You want to mist from far away and just let it, hit the model. You don't want to spray it right up close. And of course, I got to take off these little tapes covering the numbers and whatnot. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's doing what I want it to do. And I might just add a tiny bit of black to it. But I think as far as dirt goes, that's good. Berry show should be good too. I'm still yet to go to the berry show. Berry show should be the second week or weekend of February, I believe. Weekends were a little bit more doable for me. I'd probably love to go to the Berry show. We are all family. We're a big old train family. I know I should probably be wearing gloves doing this, but I don't have any right now. So, desperate times call for desperate measures. Cool. I think it's good. I think it's done. I think that's what I want for this overall look. Okay, so the only thing left to do is to spray it, bag it, and tag it because the car's done. The other one's done. I've got all my pipe load. Look at this. I've got green. I've got orange. I've got yellow. Honestly, this, you know, this all, well, not all of it will go in here, but like, colors. The colors will go in there. And I got the little graffiti on the side. Oh, right there. Sorry, Lauren. I had to tag the car. They make it like that. That's $2 now. So that's cool. I like it. I don't know if I can get this really close to you or not, but and you know what? I want to bring down the color on that side a little bit. But let's see if I can, because it doesn't look like that on this side. So if I can just show you this side, I'm going to make that a little bit darker. The lighting doesn't help, of course, but stay thirsty, my friends. He was so close to saying that. Stay thirsty. Just trying to balance things out a little bit here with some darker earth. You know what? The inside's here a little bit darker as well. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. And you'll see it at the show. So that being said, it is just after 1 o'clock, and I just went for 2 hours. I made 2 pipe loads here for Mike, and I weathered up this car that I had prepped, and I am feeling pretty good. I got a lot done. I feel like I accomplished quite a bit, and you are all along for the ride. So I have to get a couple of cars. But yeah, I'm gonna need I want to do a 10 car train basically of these, and then have them all lined up with pipe and everything. That'll be fun. So as far as this week goes, just kind of let you guys know. Tomorrow being Monday, we've got James and Mike will be on Mike's channel for the Monday night thing, Off the Tracks Monday. Again, I don't know if there's going to be GVO After Dark on Thursday because I might be leaving Thursday or I might be leaving Friday. You'll find out day up, I guess. So if there is, there is. If there isn't, then But try to tune in for tomorrow night for the show. I think it's going to be a pretty good show with James and Mike. And of course, next weekend there is no brunch build. I'll be out of town, obviously, but you can count on there being a few lives and then some B-roll footage, of course, because got to walk around and film some stuff too. So, and of course, us at the booth with Otter Valley helping out, there'll be never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment. So I'm looking forward to it. First time doing this. Again, if you guys are going to Springfield, some of you, I have no idea what you look like. So make sure you come up and tell me who you are. I'll know right away. But I look forward to seeing you all there. And don't forget, come by, grab some stickers. I'll have some stickers on hand. I'm sure Mike will have some stickers on hand. So if you're yet to get any of those from us, then we'll make sure that you get one. Other than that, I'm go big or go home. This was the Sunday Brunch Kit Builds, and I appreciate you for watching. But until next time, I've got a train to catch.